Okay, so in my opinion, this is going to be the most important video to memorize. This is how you make money. Now, excuse me. I started out doing what's called pattern day trading. It's my niche. It's what I like. It's what I'm good at. I'm very fast paced and I like reading charts. The downside to that, pattern day trading, scalping, uh, you get a higher tax rate. Uh, you get the highest capital gains tax rate if you buy a stock and you sell it the same day or within a 12-month period, meaning you don't hold it for over a year. You buy it and a month later you sell it, you're going to pay a higher price. 37%, I think. So if you, I think that's what it is. It might be a little less depending on the dollar amount, but you can do it. It's, if you make $1,000 and you got to pay $300 in capital gains or something, whoop-de-doo, it's free money. And you can get a lot of free shares by scalping. On my Webull account, if you saw, I had 37 shares in there. I started with 10. All those other shares are free from selling when it's peaking and buying when it tanks. Now, these are patterns. You're gonna see these a lot, and depending on if it's a bear market or a bull market, you're gonna see more of them than others. But these are the most common ones that you're gonna get to know, and you'll get a feel for it very easily once you watch enough of them and you spend the amount of hours I do staring at it, because it does get addicting, and it does once you start learning and getting a feel for it. It's like learning how to swim. It's scary at first when you first jump in the water, but once you're comfortable, it starts to become very fun and very addicting. Now, I'm going to start with this one over here, the bull flag. You're going to get a big spike up and then a consolidation and then another. They usually double up. They usually go in twos. Not always, but more likely you're going to see a double bull flag. Very common one to watch for. Just this pattern in particular, right there, they call it the bull flag. But that's a very, very, very common pattern. And usually when you see one, you're going to see a second. I call this the stairway to heaven. Just a good, gradual, slow spike up. This is very, very healthy. It's slow, it's steady, and it's gradual, and it's solid. That's a very good pattern. When you're seeing this, odds are you're not going to get any big major dips. Not that it can't happen with one piece of bad news nationally, or, something like that. But that's a really healthy chart to see. So when you see that, start buying. If it starts to look gradual and it's like, buying in here isn't bad. Buying here isn't bad because this very well could take right off and, shoot up. It does happen. The double bottom. This is very common right now. Now, when the market's bullish, you're going to see that just take off after that double bottom. The bottom is usually pretty symmetrical. They're pretty even. But that's a very common one. So when you see it do this first dip and you see it do this, get ready to buy right in here. If you're really good, you can buy the first one. It's never a guarantee, but it's a pattern you're going to know. And you have the inverse head and shoulders. This one is a patience one because you keep in mind, these charts, this might represent 3-4 hours of trading. These can happen in 5 minutes. The bull flag. The inverse, could be an hour, could be 2 hours. It's patience. You're looking for this and that single bull flag, and then odds are you're going to get that double bull flag off of that. You're going to see those double bull flag pairs once you start to get a feel for what they look like. You're going to start seeing them a lot. The second one almost never holds. Just a good tip. And then you have your standard head and shoulders. Again, you got the double bull flag look. Now, This is almost the most common pattern after a big spike up that usually happens quick. You're going to get the bear flags on the other side, right? And that's called the head and shoulders. That's very common to see with a double bull flag, what that can turn into. You know, sometimes it's square on the top, but it can very well do that. Good place to sell, good place to buy back in. All right, cup and handle. This one's very common. However, this one's scary. 3 out of 10, maybe this thing decides to take off. For the most part, what it's going to do is just kind of consolidate out. But it's another one to know and watch, because when you get a real classic looking cup and handle, that classic teacup look, in my experience, the more it looks like a teacup and the more symmetrical it is, the better chance you're going to have it run, because you want a nice consolidated dip in there for it to really be a nice healthy cup and handle. Now this one, barcoding we call it. This might be over the course of 3-4 days, a week. When it's just flatlining like that, it's a good time to get out anywhere in here, because odds are a big dip is coming. Short sellers watch this like white on rice. Definitely watch out for that. And this is something, you know, check it every day. Get to know your patterns. Look at the 1 day, the 1 week, the 1 month, the 3 month, see how it changes. Start memorizing patterns. This, some people call it a failing wedge, more or less the Fibonacci sequence, or the golden ratio, if you will. When this happens, this is, you know, this can happen sometimes over the course of a year. Sometimes I just go through, well, there's roughly what, I don't know, 3,000 to 5,000 stocks traded on American Exchange. Sometimes I'll just look for, you know, all stocks that are under $10 a share. And I'll look for something that's doing the Fibonacci sequence. And, you know, like I said, this can be a year. But usually what's going to happen at some point when it's way, way oversold is a great big spike's going to happen. Fibonacci sequence, there's short sellers that literally just, they don't care about the fundamentals of the company, meaning this, you know, the revenue, the sales, how they make their money, how they're doing business-wise, people, you know, fundamentals. Most short sellers don't give a crap about any of that. They're literally just looking for that Fibonacci sequence pattern or that failing wedge. Anyways, you know, to sort of recap, you got a double bull flag, what I call the stairway to heaven. You got the double bottom, you got the inverse head and shoulders, the classic head and shoulders, 2 bear flags. Consolidation over the course of a week or a month, keep an eye on it. And then the Fibonacci sequence. So those are just the common ones. Get to know them, and trust me, you're going to see them. But learning patterns is a great way to, you know, increase your position by not spending any money. And that's why I emphasize paper trading over and over while you're watching these patterns. Sometimes you're going to get it right, sometimes you're going to get it wrong, but you're going to start to notice, you know, the market's constantly changing. So right now we're in a bear market. You're going to see some of these patterns change. Not to get political, but when Trump was in office, there was bull flags like crazy. You would see this like crazy. You'd see lots of head and shoulders, lots of price action, lots of double bottoms, but tons and tons of double bull flags when Trump was in office. The market was freaking nuts. With Biden, you see a lot of this right now. Granted, it's not all them. You know, there's a lot of reasons why with what's happening with Russia is affecting that. You know, we just, you know, we had a crazy housing boom under Trump. You know, if you look at housing market charts, it looks kind of like this. And we're kind of, if this one is the housing market, we're kind of starting to cool off now, right? So, and the rest of the market's going to follow. And one other thing I do want to emphasize, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. 3 out of 4 stocks follow the Dow Jones. So no matter what's happening in the world, 3 out of the 4 stocks, out of all the stocks, are going to be following the Dow. So that's another tip. You can watch the Dow Jones, and it's pretty easy to, guess red days and green days. So keep an eye out for that. It's another good, really, really good indicator, and an easy one to watch. But yeah, so at the end of the day, you're just basically, you're looking for patterns. It's that simple. Because at the end of the day, all this is a representation of people's panic and their buying habits and news releases and press releases. That's it. So learn them, watch, don't be intimidated, and you'll get a good feel for it.